7, which means that we've got the wonderful Bill Carne with us. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Tom. It's a cold, windy day here in Trefgan, but the forecast is better later, hopefully.
It is, and of course the weather wasn't necessarily the nicest yesterday, and some cricket feeling the full effect of that.
Well, that's right. We'd had the three quarter-finalists out of three so far in the Harrison Allen, which is the blue ribbon event of local cricket. Last night, Neyland against Narberth, all set up for a big match, good crowd. Neyland started badly, or Narberth started brilliantly, depending on your outlook. Neyland were 10 for 2. And then that became something like 160 for 2 because Paul Murray, his hitting, controlled hitting is something to behold. He finished about 116. Ashley Sutton gave him support with 31, and then Di Davis was 49 not out. They got 210 for 4. Massive score.
Wow.
The rain swept in just before the end of the game. They tried valiantly to get it played. Their umpires, John Willington and Gareth Brace, tried hard. They got soaked for this trouble. 3 times they went out, 3 times they went in. Enough's enough. Back tonight.
Oh, they got to finish it off. And so how does that work then, Bill? They just take off where they left off? Is that how it works?
Yeah, the rule is that it's to be played the next night. There's always consequences because that was a Thursday. Neyland, for example, tonight they've got their special junior evening for the kids who play cricket and things like that, where they've got a barbecue and lots of good fun things that are meant for everyone. Of course, that's had to be postponed now till Sunday. And luckily, there is that time the kids can come there. But it was all set up for last night. They bought the food, they had everything in hand, got the music ready. So there is a spin-off from it, but that'll be a game and a half tonight. And I think Narberth will be the more pleased that game was rained off because 210 is a big score to chase.
Yeah, the momentum definitely wasn't necessarily with them, was it?
Nope.
No. And you mentioned that it was 10 for 2. It's very easy. Like coming out to bat after that, you think, I'm just the next one in the firing line. To have that composure and to bat through and get a century, that takes some mental nous, doesn't it?
That's good, and I feel partially to blame because I'm known as a bit of a Jonah with predictions. And before the start last night, I said to Ross Hardy, who's coming on the show on Monday to talk about his new academy, I was teasing really the captain, Sean Hannon. I said, well, it's nice to see the captains put you back as opener where you belong, Ross. Lo and behold, caught second ball, duck.
Oh, Bill, you do have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, it's hard work keeping it up sometimes, but I found it easy last. So the other games then, Whitland 115 for 7, lost to Carew, 118 for 8. Carew were playing very well. James Hinchliffe 53 and Nick Davis 40. Johnny Thomas 45 for Whitland. Loreni 206 for 7 against Hook. Kyle Marsh 76. Ryan Morton 73. Hook managed to get to 170 for 5, which is a good score. And the Miller brothers, Lewis had 63 and Liam 36. Alid Phelps 3 for 30, for 30, he had 35. But that meant they lost by 36 runs there. And in the third game, Saundersfoot were too strong for Langham. So good game though, 10 runs difference. Saundersfoot 170 for 6. Tom Mansbridge is in some form there, 73. And Langham 160 for 5. They had several players in the 30s, not least Will Beresford with 35. But they couldn't get someone to stay like Tom did. So 3 decided already. That's Carew, Loreni and Saundersfoot. Narberth or Neyland to join them tonight, hopefully.
Yeah. And then for the next round of that, is that names in a hat? How does that work now?
Yeah, then the draw has already been made. And this played then at a neutral venue. So what the county club do, they make the draw and then they decide on an appropriate neutral venue, which is given as a reward really for having a good ground. Pembroke Dock very often feature in that now in semi-finals because their batting track is a joy to behold. That'll be decided now in the next week or so.
Yeah. And just looking at Division 1 fixtures, then you've got Neyland having to play an extra game. You've got Carew, who are on the high from beating Whitland. That's the fixture in the division.
Oh, no doubt about that. Carew with home advantage against Neyland, who are on tip-top form. Carew are playing this year as well as they ought to be playing. They look at topside. Sean Whitfield, young man there, is playing superbly, bowling very quickly, batting well, and he's certainly leading them by example. And James Hinchcliffe is another who's having a good time. So Carew if they play to their best tomorrow, they've got a good chance against Neyland, who need to play for their best with a couple of players out. So that's going to be interesting. In the other games in the division, important games at the bottom already, Tom, because teams are starting to sweat about relegation. Branston came up last year. They're 9th now, and they're at home to Cresselly. So that's not an easy game for sure. And Burton came up as well, and they're 10th. So the two teams that were promoted are in the relegation area, and they travelled Lorraine were 3rd. So that's tough. Yeah. If you said to me, who's the team this year that's playing the best in terms of how they've done before, it's St. Ishmael's.
I was just about St. Ishmael's, exactly what I was going to mention. I bet Burton and Branston, they were going to go up thinking, if we can stay on par with Tish, who struggled last season, then they would have been happy. But they're holding their own there. Well, they're doing very well. They're right in the middle there.
Yeah, they're 5th and they're playing Narberth, who are 8th. No, that's lower than expected Narberth to be honest. So they're on the edge of the relegation, as are Langham. But St. Ishmael's, they've got Peter Bradshaw as an old head who opens the batting. He's a good guy. Phil Coburn when he's playing well. But they're two outstanding players. Jonathan Pollard, who played for the county recently, batting and bowling. God, he can hit a ball. And the young boy, Brennan Devenel, fast bowler, very fast, very tall, rangy player. And he's a good batsman as well. And that whole shebang is finished then with Langham, who are 7th, playing Saundersfoot, who are 6th. So Langham will need a couple of wins. And the top game in Division 2, if you don't mind me, Tom, Hook and Haverfordwest have both got identical number of points at the top. And they play each other at Hook. So that's a game to behold. I'm going to look at that tomorrow. It is tidy weather, I think. And the bottom of the division, Cresselly 2nds, who are 9th, and Johnson, who are 10th. So it's the two top teams and the two bottom teams playing each other. Then you got Whitland, who are 3rd, playing the Dock, who are 5th. Cleckery, who are 4th. Carew 2nds, 8th. And middle of the table stuff, Llanrhian 7th and Kilgetty 6th. So good programme, some interesting games tomorrow, Tom.
Yeah, I would say so. Hook and Haverfordwest going to be very interesting. Who's going to hold their nerve?
Well, it's hard to say because Hook are a very young side, teeming with talent. The Miller boys, the Phelps boys, they're very young side. Haverfordwest, I think, rely on 3 or 4 players to build them to their peak with Ben Field and people like that. So skipper Chris Phillips knows his team. He'll be looking for the best there. What's I think important to say as well, Tom, there's also divisions 3, 4, 5, 6, where games are every bit as competitive and enjoyed by the people who take part. So, I hope it's a good full day because people love their cricket. It's great. What I'd like to see you do is come to Harris now and final this year, because you'd enjoy that. It's a long day. It's 12 till 7, half 7, but you can sit there, have a glass of pop or a shandy as you want. Take your sandwiches, have tea there if you want. It's lovely.
Oh, no, it is something that I would love to do. So, is there a date for the final yet?
Oh, you put me on the spot now.
I have put him on the spot. We'll
excuse me.
Oh, look at him. He's prepared. He's ready.
No, it's in a drawer. The best handbook ever in any. Look at it.
Look at that. It's a proper book.
It is a book. It's 160 pages. So if it's your terms of reference, if you're interested in cricket in Pembrokeshire, I took it great pride at one time in I'm just logging through now, cup final dates. I'm glad I found it, because otherwise you'd be ribbing me mercilessly.
No, not me.
Yeah. Harrison Allen Bowl final, Saturday, August the 26th at Cresselly Cricket Club. So
fantastic.
It's played after all the leagues have been decided. One time it was played a bit earlier, but they changed that. So it's the 26th of August. Make a note, everybody.
There we go. And you've also, looking back at the Alan Brown, you've got a good news snippet here as well you want to mention.
Yeah, it was a one-sided final, as a lot of pundits predicted, because the teams, Pembroke are 2nd in Division 3 and Handel are 3rd in Division 4. I hope both get promotion because they play the game the right way. And Pembroke are a stronger side. They've got a really, really healthy balance. Now, Gareth Long has come from up a Rhondda in the Rhondda Valley, and he's a good opener. Jack Harris, the captain, is playing out of his skin. In that final, he scored 167 runs in the two innings, 87 and 80, both not out. Took a few catches. He can bowl as well. Guess who was man of the match? There's not much choice with that then. But it was lovely to see. What I love is the family spirit. Stuart Midgley plays for Hunterland. His daughter Ava is a very talented 15-year-old girl, and the young son Elliot, who's 12 or 13, and they were all playing. And although they had to chase a lot of leather because Pembroke scored big twice, there was one lovely moment where Ava was bowling, Spencer Harris dropped by Dad Stuart. So they had their leg pulled. Mum was there. She was giving him a bit of stick, and everybody else, and all in good fun. And I said to Stuart, "Can I have a picture of the three of you for, my website?" Yeah, no trouble. And it's in there for everyone to see.
Oh, lovely.
But that's what makes the whole game great. And we have to say that venue was an inspirational choice when they volunteered, and it's run by the county umpires, as you know, not by the county itself. It was inspirational because the pitch is like a billiard table. It's fantastic. The welcome from the club, everything looks tip top. And there's a lady there called Sian Richards who supplies a healthy tea for all the players and as many supporters as want to go in if they buy a raffle ticket.
Oh, wow.
A lovely salad, lots of pasta, lots of healthy food. And, I didn't tell you about the cakes, Tom.
We'll save them.
Yeah, well, Mrs. Carne comes to that final, because she knows a lot of the umpires' wives from when I was an umpire and when I was chairman of the county. And, there's a great camaraderie amongst them. But I suspect it's also to make sure I don't eat all the blinking cakes that are there.
She can keep an eye on you whilst you're there.
She does.
I love that. And you just mentioned Ava there. A young adult female playing cricket. And of course, the ladies' cricket is going. The divisions are competitive. They're full. They're excellent evenings out. But let's start off with the county ladies squad. It's the first time that they've had a county ladies squad, and they're feeling it.
Yeah, it's the first time they've played in a league. They're playing in the Welsh Premier League, and it's huge talent. They're playing against people who regularly play for Wales and have done so for years, and it's a very sharp learning curve. They started off with a win, but they were playing Newport on Sunday away. And Newport are some side, I can tell you that. They've got the Welsh captain, they've got a host of players who have or are playing. Pembrokeshire scored 126 all out, Sam Roster 23, Fionn Ashman 22, and Maisie Davis 19. That was never going to be enough against Newport, and they knew that. Skipper Sam reported to me after they battled hard, but Newport, Rose Evans 58 not out, and Eve Jackson 49 not out, got it without losing a wicket. But it's another part of the sharp learning curve for those ladies, and it's great to see. I suspect Ava would have played in that if she wasn't playing in the Alan Brown. So it's a sharp learning curve. But you look at the fixtures again this week, Tom, there's lots of good cricket. Sadly, one game was off. Whitland couldn't get a team to play against Criselli in Division 1, but the rest of the games, there's lots of women's cricket. I can tell you a couple of scores if you like.
We'll go through the score. We'll have a little run through the scores.
Yeah, Burton 123 for 8. They beat Pembroke Dock 95 for 8. They have to retire at 25 in the ladies' cricket. And you can see Burton, Lily Thomas 25, Rebecca Barton 25, Olivia James 2 for 8, and Rosie Thomas 2 for 13. If you remember, we interviewed the other week a young lady, I say young lady advisedly, from Burton, who has now reached 60. And that's the first time she hasn't featured in the scores. Elaine Scale, of course. She hasn't featured, so I suspect she wasn't playing. It's hard to believe she gets out these days, that's the thing. And the Doc Cheryl, he was at 25, not out, and 1 for 70. That's 3 for 17. Hook, 124 for 6, lost to Haverford West, 126 for 4. Hook, Gemma Phillips, 33. Casey Aaron, 25 and 2 for 31. For Haverford West, Owen Prusser, who's a very, very good rugby player, played for Wales. She had 2 for 9. Lynn Ward, 28, not out. Nia Williams, 25. And Pam Assen, 23, not out. Annie Tinley, also 2 for 11. And Division 2 quickly, Nayland 59 all out, lost to Carew 61 for 1. Nayland, Lewis Hughes had 1 for 7. Carew, Kate Chandler Hall 4 for 5 and 27 all out. Now remember, we talked about her the other week because she and her husband Brian and their 3 boys all play cricket for Carew. And there was one game last year, Brian was telling me, where they all played in a friendly together. So that's great. And
Yeah,
the
I
3
love that.
boys, I mentioned those last week, where they went along to watch Carew in the semi-final of the cricket. Did they watch it? Did they act? They were in the nets in Haverfordwest from the start to the finish. And that's why they're such good players now at 16-ish. And
Yeah.
in the future, they're going to be serving Carew very well. The 3 boys are brilliant players. And lastly, Kilgetty 59 for 6, lost to Tish 60 for 1. It's nice to see Tish starting to do well, although that's not so good news for Carew there, for Kilgetty there. Kerry Jones had 80 for Kilgetty for St. Ishmael's. Lindsay Picton, 25, my old chum from school. She plagued me for 5 years when I was a head of year, but she's lovely. And Gwen Davis, 2 for 9, and Rachel Maguire, 2 for 11. So lots of, you can see the women's cricket going from strength to strength.
It really is. It's great to see, and it'll only lead to well, even more events like what you've witnessed over the weekend, more camaraderie between villages and different towns and families. It's a wonderful spectacle. I think it's fantastic, and yeah, I do need to get myself down to a match. We're going to look at what who you've been talking to for Monday evening with the sports show, the Eaton Evans and Morris. But before that, Bill, Haverfordwest European Adventure is going to kick off a week yesterday. It's exciting after 19 years.
It is. It's too early in the season for me, but yeah, it's good. And we wish them well. I expect you're off to North Macedonia now, you.
Well, my fingers are crossed. I wish.
Yeah.
I'd love to get out there. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get a supporters package because of the location of it. But I'm sure that there'll be ways that we can enjoy that together. But yeah, wonderful. And the return fixture on the 20th of July in Cardiff, where they do have some coaches going up.
Yeah, they do. I'm going on a coach. I've got my press accreditation. Gordon can't go because he's got a family commitment, which he can't miss, understandably. I think Fraser will probably catch a lift on the bus. It's great value when you think it's 10 quid to go on the bus.
Yeah.
They drop you off at the stadium, they pick you up after, they take you home. No fuss, no palaver, no stops en route. It's just a chance to watch the football.
Yeah.
So I'm going up to support the Bluebirds then. They've made some signings. They've had a couple of useful performance and a couple not so useful in terms of results. But every game is useful in pre-season because it gives Tony Pennock the chance to see who he's got and who he needs to get still. So, yeah, it's exciting time for the club.
It is. And Wayne Jones, Wolvesy, is going to be joining the team on Monday evening. He was part of the squad that last went on a European adventure. So he's going to be...
Iceland,
so he's going to be giving a bit of a preview as to what the players are going to be potentially thinking about as they lead up to this, to the European. Well, they've changed the name of it again, haven't they? Europa Conference, whatever it is now.
Yeah, but Wayne is a lovely fella called Wolvesy because of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Him and his dad support them. But when he was manager, what I loved, he never shirked a meeting, an interview. He'd tell you the truth. He might say some things off the record, which Gordon and I respected. But he is a class act, and he still goes to Bridgemeadow to watch now, and he still is held in huge regard by the supporters who think he's amazing. And I wouldn't ever give up and say he'll never go back to the Bridgemeadow. He's like Frank Sinatra. He's made a few comebacks, so he's a lovely bloke. He's top man. Yeah, top man.
He is. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then
you can
also
tell him Uncle Bill said hello.
We'll pass that on. And you've also been out and about chatting with local sports stars as well.
Yeah, we mentioned Ross Hardy, who played and got a second ball duck. He'll have to improve his coaching in that because he's just starting a cricket coaching academy in Nayland. He'll be a brilliant coach. He's offering that to individual youngsters or adults. He knows his stuff. He can do small groups, or he could go along to a club who are looking to improve, say, fielding skills or batting, what the batting needs, and he'll be brilliant at that. So I wish him well with the Ross Hardy Cricket Academy. I bumped into this week one of my best pals in sport, Alan Jones from Pembroke. I saw him in the batting with his dad, Johnny, who was the district rep in rugby for 18 years. That's how good he was. And Alan is a very good all-round sportsman. just turn. He can take to anything. If he went along to an evening out with Sport Pembrokeshire, and they had 10-pin bowling, he'd win it. I guarantee you. He is some man. But he went to the Welsh Golf Seniors Championship, 144 competitors, only 20 from Wales. He booked 2 days off just to go and have a look around at Ashburnham, which is a fantastic links course near Llanelli. He just goes along, scores 72 and 71, leads the field by 2 shots. Has to phone his boss, Matthew at Sport Pembrokeshire, can I have another day off because I'm in the last 60? And then the last round, scored a 75 in bad conditions and won by 2 shots. And the prestige from that, the trophy, for example, Tom, was first competed for in 1898. And
oh, wow.
it's not allowed. They can't take it. He was presented with it, but then it goes back in a safe, and he has a medal as a keepsake then. A fantastic performance. Gavin Scotcher, whose son Elliot is a very good player with Haverfordwest County. Gavin came 29th. He was the next best Welsh player. But they were playing against people from Woburn Abbey, Lytham St Anne's, which is on the Ryder Cup course, and the Open Golf Championship, rather. Played there on route. And he's playing against people who are playing links courses of the highest caliber. And a measure, he's some boy. He's won the Dyfed Championship 3 times, the oldest to win that. He plays the South Pems. How many times do you think he's won the South Pems Golf Championship?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know. How
28.
many?
28. Wow. So it's almost, I mean, he's very, matter of fact. He says, there's some good players coming along now. They'll, they're starting to push me all the way. He's playing off +2, which means that, golf goes down from 18 down to par to nothing, scratch. Well, he's 2 above that. And he only plays once a week now. And then I'm talking to Jess Charles. First time I've ever interviewed anyone who plays tag rugby for Great Britain. She lives and works in London. Her dad, Gareth, was a very good rugby player and a good ladies coach in rugby, which is how Jess started. So she's going off to Limerick to play in that. Started off with, I think, 200 participants in trials, whittled down to 140, down to 70, down to 60. She's in the last 20 to go with that. Teams of 8. So you'll be interested in that. It's an interesting game. And then Fraser's talking to Michaela Jones. We have them all on this show. Fraser's chatting to her about swimming the English Channel on her own in cold water. And she started swimming in cold water with the Blue Tits, who emanated with the Richardson family up in Solva, I think, or even nearer to Llanrhian, perhaps. She's looking for support, for sponsorship. So she's going on to the show. I think she'll have just finished, when she's talking on the Monday there, I think she will have finished completing that. And last but certainly not least, Scott Powell, a lovely character, 3 brothers and their dad, Roland, all very good rugby players. And he's talking to Fraser about what it's been like to play for Pembroke the last couple of seasons. He was captain for 5 years. So he's now, he's great ambassador for the club, talking about them getting relegated to divisions, voluntary relegation almost. So that'll be interesting. So there's 5 lovely guests there at least.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be on the Pure Sports Show with Eaton Evans and Morris, 7 till 9 o'clock every Monday. And if you want to catch up on any of those, you can go back to purewestradio.com/catch up. And Bill, you mentioned people posing for pictures and match reports. Where can they get the full details, the full lowdown on your website?
Yeah, they can indeed. We pride ourselves, Tom, on a Saturday night having all the scores and the best performances for Division 1 and 2. We'd like to do them all, but it's just a massive job. I work on a Saturday night, but I go home about 5:30. I don't see the whole game. And I work till about 10. And then we work on a Sunday morning as well. So apologies to the others, but we get those on a Sunday because of the efforts of John Harris, who's the league secretary, Chippy, known to all. He does that, and he sometimes doesn't finish till 3 in the morning with the county club's work. And I salute him for his part in providing us with that. It does frustrate me a bit because I know 1 or 2 newspapers and other sites who ought to know better. They don't do any work. They wait till they come on our site and then they copy them, which, isn't the way to do it, really. They should be finding out and getting to know about cricket. I mean, what we do for a laugh, Gordon and I, we put 1 deliberate mistake in every week. So if it was you there, we might change Tom Dyer to Tim Dyer.
Yeah.
We alter it later on in the night.
Yeah. Just to see who's picking it out.
Guess what? You'll be down in some areas as Tim Dyer. It's pathetic, really, that we do it, but it's even more pathetic they just can't be bothered.
Yeah. Well, if that did ever have been called a lot worse, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
And so that's pembrokeshiresport.co.uk for all of the all of the scores and divisions there. Bill, we've come to that time. It's just gone 7:30, which means that we move from sport into music. And it's Feel Good Friday. You're going to start this off with us again, as ever on a Friday morning. What have you picked out for us?
Well, can I say well done first to you and Gina for the idea, because I think it's great that people can phone in and listen to their song, because we all got songs that mean something to us. And the one I picked this week, Mrs. Carne has picked that, and it's by the Electric Light Orchestra, Yellow, and it's called Turn to Stone. And it's strange, when that comes on, you'll know the song, I'm sure, Tom, but in the middle there's a part of it where he sings that I'm turning to stone, I can't go on, and I want to do. And Marilyn can reel that off singing it. And I did say to her, Tom said, would you like to come on and do a unique performance? And there were two reasons why not.
Two reasons?
Yeah. One is that it's 7:30 in the morning.
Okay, fair enough.
And secondly, she said she's far too modest.
Well, thank you for the suggestion. We'll all have a go at this now, because it is a song that you will know. Even if you don't recognize the title, you will know it. And you've just mentioned already, Bill, about people phoning in. Joe Bowling's got in touch. He's just put a request in, so we'll get that one on the air. And Anna has also just been in touch as well. She's just tuned in. So, Anna, what's your song choice? Joe, yours is on the way. Bill, as ever, thank you for your time on a Friday morning.
My pleasure.
It is brilliant having the Pembrokeshire Sports Update with you, Mr. Pembrokeshire Sport himself. So thank you very much, Bill, to you and to Gordon and to the whole sports team. I think it's wonderful. So we've got Jess Glynn, Hold My Hand. We've got Sagala, Becky Hill, Wish You Well, Electric Light Orchestra, Turn to Stone at courtesy of Bill. I'm going to go live on our social media to collect some more feel-good tunes for this Feel Good Friday. Thank you so much, Bill.
Have a good sporting weekend, you, Tom, and everybody else.
You're listening to Pure West Radio.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving.